So, what is a memorable movie you watched in the past?
I'm not a really big fan of watching movies. I believe I enjoy watching movies as much as other people. The movie of the title that I will talk about is No Hard Feelings. And I watched it on a plane heading to Bali without subtitles, with no subtitles, neither in Korean nor in English, for the purpose of learning English. And I'm really happy that I was able to understand most of them, which would have not been possible if I hadn't studied English constantly. And the basic storyline of this movie is that a female protagonist, 28 or 29, starts dating with a boy, high school student, who is about to go to university. But the graduation of the high school is just around the corner for him. And there is a fun twist here, which is she first approaches him with a certain purpose, money-oriented intention. And the reason being is his parents, high school students' parents, kind of made a deal with her, a female protagonist. And their parents promise her to give a car to her in exchange for her effort and time to date their son. And the reason why their parents made this ridiculous deal was because they concerned about their son. Their son, although he is very smart, is not sociable. Not sociable. So he has hard time mingling together with his friends. He barely talks. He barely goes out, let alone going out with a girl. And parents just want him to do well when he goes to university. And that's why a female protagonist and their parents made this kind of deal. And at first, she just tries to get a car. But as time goes by, unexpectedly, female protagonist falls into love with this high school student, and this high school male student, gets really attached to this woman who tries to get a car, and now you can see why a lot of conflicts and disputes are beginning to, start. And I'm not gonna give you a spoiler. I recommend you watch this movie for yourself and find out how this movie ends. Forget to talk about movie characters. And I've never seen a male character, protagonist in any movie, so that means probably he's not that famous, but I definitely recognize a face of a female protagonist. I guess she appears in one of the Marvel movies. I forget the name, but I definitely recognize her. And I think it's a great movie to learn English at the end. Okay, that's it.
Great. Okay, so you spoke for 4 minutes, 30 seconds.
Okay.
Which is way more than is required for a...
What is the most ideal time for one question to answer?
I'm sorry, I don't know. I would need to look at the speaking test.
It doesn't matter because I just use the OP question just for the sake of learning English.
Few things.
Let's study.
Your variety is good. So you would score very high marks, I think, for not repeating the same kind of structures and words and everything too many times, which is really great. You had a lot of variety, different kinds of tenses, lots of colloquial expression. Essentially what it means is it's speaking how native speakers speak naturally in their day-to-day life. So it's really good. That's what you want. You want to be using colloquial language for a question like this, not formal academic,
So it is basically a fancy way to say daily English.
Exactly right. Your story followed a pretty good structure, I think, like logical and coherent. So you would get a pretty good score for that.
Yes.
The only thing I would say is the way you start the answering the question is unnecessary.
Yes.
So you're like giving context, too much context for your answer where you could have just gone straight into it. You don't need to reframe the question slightly. So you're saying like, instead of just answering directly, you're sort of saying, instead of answering the question, I'm going to give you something I watched recently and all these different things
Yes.
and reasons why. You don't need to do that.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if it's true or not, whether this is the most memorable movie. Because you've chosen it, you can just answer directly as if it is.
You know, even while I was, dealing with the parts, like why did I watch this movie? When did I watch this movie? Even at the time, I was thinking, I'm not supposed to like give this kind of story now.
Exactly right.
Okay.
If the question was, what was the last movie you watched? Then you would give those details, right? I was on a plane, I watched an English language movie. It was about blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Something like that. So it's not bad, it was just unnecessary, and I don't think it would count. It wouldn't help you in terms of is your answer relevant to the question score?
Relevant.
You might get not marked down for it. Just a little bit.
Okay. And by the way, there is something I want to run by you. Is it appropriate if I would say I didn't meet the intention of the test or question or satisfy the intention? Now I must be translating word by word, but maybe you get the idea now.
Sure, yeah, I think it's fine to say that. You didn't meet the requirements would be the way that I would say of the answer. You did later. 80% of your answer is perfect. You can just cut out the ramble at the beginning.
So you wouldn't use the word intention in this context. You rather say meet the requirement of the question.
The intention of the question also works. You can say
Works?
that because the question intends to focus on something and you focus on just something slightly off, just a little bit. So you could say that. It's okay.
Okay. You know, the reason I'm asking this question is because when we study in high school, every time we try to solve a problem, a lot of teachers always emphasize that you need to take the intention of the questions into consideration.
Right.
So that's why I want to know about whether the intention of the word was here appropriate or not.
It is appropriate because the question intends to get a specific answer from you, so it works.
Okay.
Sure. I wrote down here, no hard feelings. Oh, that's the name of the movie, right?
Yes.
Is it a new movie or an old movie?
I have no idea.
I've
I just
never heard
came across the movie on Netflix.
I was able to understand most of them. Most of it.
Most of it.
It rather than them.
How about understand most of the scenes in the movie? Would it be correct?
Then in that case, if you've I don't recall exactly what you said.
Okay.
If you're specifying the scenes, they're countable and multiple scenes, then them would be fine.
Okay.
You said a female protagonist, late 20s. If you wanted to complete the sentence, a female protagonist in her late 20s.
In her late 20s. Okay.
Yeah.
In her late 20s.
I think you said 30s and then you self-corrected, right?
Yes.
And you said maybe 28, something like that. So a female protagonist in her late 20s. Another word you could use, you're talking about her intentions. She had premeditated intentions.
Premeditated intention.
Which is where she planned it before the act, right?
Yes.
So she approached this person because she's trying to con him or something for money, take money from him. So it's just another word that would be a high-level word that would help you with that score.
Premeditated intention.
We're using a lot of really good, as I said, colloquial language and like expressions. And one of the phrasal verbs, though, that you would maybe lose marks for is you said, she falls into love with a high school student.
She falls into love with high school student. Was that what I said?
That's what you said.
Okay.
And it would be more natural just to say she falls in love. She falls in love with.
Falls in love with the high school student. Okay.
We don't really fall into love. It's like a fixed expression.
Yes.
It's great that you're using lots of these things. And that was the only one where I noticed a little mistake. And then the last thing is, I'm not going to give you a spoiler, which is okay. You can say that. But A very natural way to say that would be, I don't want to spoil it for you.
Spoil it for you.
Or I don't want to spoil the movie for you.
It feels weird to use for preposition here because I don't spoil something for you. Would it be correct if I said, I spoiled the movie to him?
No. No, we wouldn't.
Even in this case, I should say for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spoiled the movie for him. I don't know why. That's
Okay,
just the
so
way
it is what it is. Just
It is what it is, yeah.
Okay. I will not spoil it for you.
That's right.